All right, so today I am joined by Cabaret artist Brian De Lorenzo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good, good. And congratulations on Toast of the Town Volume 1.
Thank you.
What inspired you to create a big band album at this point in your career?
Um, I had been doing quite a few standards from the Great American Songbook for a
Mhm.
while. And I just thought, it would be great to get these recorded and to record them with a big band. Um, I've only sung with a big band a couple of times before this project,
Mhm.
and it's very exhilarating to be able to sing with all that brass.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, let's save up some money and record those songs.
Very nice. So how has the album been received so far?
I've gotten a couple of really good reviews, and I had a CD release concert back in June,
Mhm.
which was very well received. So
Good.
I was excited about that.
Good, good. So Toast of the Town blends well-known standards with some hidden gems. How did you go about curating the track list, and were there any songs you knew that had to be included from the start?
Um, yes, I did. I did know that there had to be, well, for instance, the song that's not a standard, but maybe it should be, by Barry Manilow, called "I Was a Fool to Let You Go,"
Mhm.
which is the last cut on the CD. I said, "Yeah, I want to do that one. It's such a great song. You think of a smoky bar in the 1950s or 1960s, and um, yeah."
Nice. Yeah, and you've said that singing with a big band is unmatched. So what was it like recording with the Tom LaMark Orchestra, and how did their sound help shape the album's feel?
Well, so the recording process was interesting. It's a lot of instrumentalists. There are 11 well, for the big band numbers on the recording. We do some smaller ensembles, but for the big band, we had 10 instrumentalists, and getting them into a small studio is a little bit difficult. They were playing 15 instruments too. So
Yeah.
in some numbers, they start out playing trumpet and maybe switch to flugelhorn, or other guys would switch from clarinet to flute or something like that. Uh,
Hmm.
but we had separated the vocal into one room, the bass player, Tom LaMark, who is the keyboard player and music director, and then the drums, all in our separate rooms, all separated by the big room where all of the rest of the guys were sitting. So I could sort of barely see Tom LaMark across the room through my booth, acrylic, so that I could get his cues and sing with the guys.
Hmm.
One thing that I learned on this project, since I've only recorded either with just piano or small ensembles, is that the singer really needs the piano forward in the headphones
Okay.
to stay in tune.
Yeah.
Because the other instruments are not, they're not perfectly pitched.
Mhm.
So if I can't hear the piano, then I might go off pitch. So that's something that I learned.
Nice, nice. And Robert Risco did the cover art for this album, right?
Yes.
Yes, nice. So how did your connection with his work influence the vision for the album's visual identity?
Well, I had started collecting a bunch of CDs back in the 90s and 2000s, I guess, called Capitol Sings.
Okay.
And they were compilation recordings from the Capitol Records vault. Uh, and they decided to theme them mostly by songwriters. So there's a Rodgers and Hart, Irving Berlin, Cole Porter, Sammy Kahn, and quite a few more. A total of 20 recordings,
Mhm.
of which I have 19. And part of the reason for collecting them was the great singers from the 40s, 50s, and 60s doing the Great American Songbook. But I really liked the cover art.
Mm.
And there was another album in my collection that I really liked, and I saw that the artist was Robert Risco, and I contacted the other singer who had recorded an album with artwork by Robert Risco, and she said she would be willing to contact him on my behalf.
Mm.
And at the time, I hadn't known that Robert Risco had done the artwork for all of these Capitol Sings recordings. It was only when I started to do some research about him that I discovered that I had all of this artwork
Mhm.
on my CDs by Robert Risco. So
Wow.
we were connected, and we had a great phone conversation. I live in Boston and he lives on Long Island. And when we talked, I think we talked for about 3 hours,
Oh, wow.
the phone call, because he wanted to get to know me,
Yeah.
to, properly depict me on the artwork. And I think he did a great job. I think it looks a lot like me.
Definitely. And so it all kind of seemed aligned for you right there.
Yeah.
So have you always had a passion and desire to pursue a career in performing arts?
Um, Pretty much. I started singing as a child with my family and at school, and I think my parents. So my dad was a singer, and the whole family has good voices, so we would sing together. Um, and when I was 9 years old, my parents bought a used piano and asked me if I wanted to take piano lessons, and I said sure. So I started taking piano lessons, and we the family would sing together with another family. So I went to Catholic school and grew up in a Catholic church,
Mhm.
and the organist and her family were all very musical too. And her family and our family would get together and do concerts.
Yeah.
And so some people refer to my family, the De Lorenzo family, as the sort of the trap family singers, but the Italian ones. And then I got a nun at my school heard me sing. So actually, I need to back up because my father sang in a community choir
Okay.
where I grew up in Weymouth, Massachusetts. And they were going to do something called the St. Nicholas Cantata by Benjamin Britten.
Okay.
And they needed three boys to sing this one very short scene in that. And I guess my father must have put me forward as a candidate. So I auditioned, and they hired me to do this one small role. This was back when I was still a soprano. So I did that concert, and then a nun who was at my school, but who was not one of my teachers yet, heard me at that concert, and she talked to my parents and said, I've learned of this new choir school for children. Maybe your son would be interested in joining this.
Mm.
So I auditioned for that, and I ended up going to a choir school from fifth grade through eighth grade on Saturdays. So I could no longer watch Saturday morning cartoons on television because I was learning to read music and to play recorder and to do just to do concerts, as well as some little theatrical skits and a little bit of opera.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
I did Hansel and Gretel, the Humperdinck opera, where I played Hansel.
Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah, I bet. Sounds great. Yes. And over the course of your career, you've paid tributes to icons like Nat King Cole, Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra. What do you think today's audiences can still learn or feel from these legendary voices and songs?
Well, I think they can learn about themselves listening to this music because I think these songs are timeless and um, young kids, graduating from theater school or musical theater school, uh, tend to go back to the older material. That's what I did.
Yeah, definitely.
My parents were listening to Nat King Cole and other singers. My mother collected albums by a singer named John Gary, who wasn't very famous. I mean, he was famous enough to have done a concert at Carnegie Hall, but he wasn't the top tier of the Great American Songbook like Ella Fitzgerald and Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet and Tony Bennett and all of them. But he John Gary was kind of an inspiration for me too, just because my mom listened to him, so I got a taste for the standards
Hmm.
I was growing up. And as a performer, when I'm singing a concert and singing a song, I want to convey what I feel to the audience, but I also want them to be open to feel what they want to feel, or
Yeah.
sometimes it's I love to say that if I've done a concert and I've made people laugh and I've made people cry, then it's been a success.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's what I like when I go to a cabaret or a concert.
Definitely, me too, definitely. And you have made a staple within the Boston cabaret community. What what do you hope your work has done to help strengthen the Boston cabaret community?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Um, well, I can say that I was one of the founding members of the Boston Association of Cabaret Artists back in 1995. So my work in that has helped to strengthen the community. Um, we are really only club that's doing this kind of material on a regular basis is Club Cafe in Boston, and they have open mics most nights of the week. And most of us who are cabaret performers who want a place to perform do shows at Club Cafe. They have two spaces, a larger cabaret room in the back of the club, and then in the front there's uh, the Napoleon Room, which has a brand new grand piano, which is great. It's a very, very intimate space, and we all go different nights of the week and hear our favorite hosts,
Mhm.
and then the hosts turn it over to open mic. So we're a real community in that way.
Nice.
We just see each other there almost any night of the week. You'll see somebody you know.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you ultimately hope listeners take away from Toast of the Town?
Um, just enjoy. It was a wonderful experience recording this because there's songs I love, and they move me, and I think they will move other people when
Hmm.
they listen.
Hmm. Any details about Volume 2?
Volume two will come out next year.
Okay.
It's been recorded. It just hasn't been mixed
Mm.
yet.
Okay.
So we need to go into the studio and mix everything, and probably this fall that will happen. And then I hope to have it out by May of next year,
Okay.
maybe sooner.
Okay. Perfect. Well, what are some other future goals you hope to accomplish with your career?
Oh, I'd like to tour.
Okay.
I There are other cabaret singers and jazz singers who I respect, who get gigs all over the country, and that's something that I'd like to do because I'd like to make a living and not have to work a day job if I can possibly
Same.
do that. Right now I can't.
Yeah. I know that feeling. Yes. Have you ever toured before?
I've done sort of mini touring, not anything big. My Frank Sinatra tribute show, which I put together in 2015, which was the 100th anniversary of his birth,
Hmm.
December of 1915. I did that show. Let's see if I can remember where I did it first. But I know that I did it in Boston. I did it in New York, Rochester, New York,
Hmm.
um, in uh, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Nice.
Um, and then I think that's the show that I did. Yeah, I think that's the show that I did at a club in London.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay, perfect. So you want to do a big grand national tour?
yeah, that would be fun.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Well, Brian, how can one stay up to date with you the best?
Probably the easiest way is to go to my website, briandelorenzo.com, and all the information is there. You can sign up for my um, email newsletter. You can buy the recordings, either the CDs or downloads, and you can read reviews and interviews with me and some of my writing.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Perfect. Then before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time?
Um, well, I created a show last year for Cabaret Fest in Provincetown,
Hmm.
and I put together this show called Sammy and Sinatra at the Sands, which is a tribute to Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra, and how they worked together, how Frank was a mentor to Sammy, and how I think Sammy is underrated and is probably, I think, the best overall entertainer of the 20th century.
Mhm.
Because he started out as a dancer,
Yeah.
but then started singing and he taught himself instruments like drums and guitar and trumpet and then he started doing imitations of Hollywood stars, and he's great at that too. So I just think he deserves more recognition. So I did that show. I put it together last year. I did it in Boston at Club Cafe, and I'm doing it in September at the Arctic Playhouse in West Warwick, Rhode Island.
Okay.
And I will be doing it in New York at Don't Tell Mama on October 25th.
Okay. All right. Fantastic.